Hey, it's Coach Josh, and I'm here at Training for Warriors Portland. I wanted to talk to you today about a concept I like to call overtraining. And you might have read about this online or even talked about it with your friends. But overtraining is something that you used to hear a lot more about than you do today. But it's a danger of training too much for too long, and it's something that happens pretty infrequently. But if you're an exercise addict, so I'm talking to you, my ultra marathoners, my Iron men and women, triathletes, if you really like training and you have a lot of training to do, then you might fall into the category that might be at risk for overtraining. Let's talk a little bit more about what that really means. Overtraining is a metabolic, endocrine, nervous system problem that occurs when you basically just train too intensely for too long a period of time. And it has a lot to do with sort of the repetitiveness and the demand of that training, and how it's very difficult to recover from if your program isn't really well designed. You're not taking care of yourself. If you're not taking care of yourself while you're training. So I see that happen mostly, like I said, with endurance sports athletes and people who have long training programs that go on for a long season, and training that is really intense. And the kind of people who do those things are usually exercise addicts, and they like that feeling of constantly being on the road, on the bike, in the gym, training. They like the way their brain feels when they're really going after it. I see another situation in the gym and in the training spheres, which is not overtraining, but it's similar. It's called overtaxing. These are people that are not overtrained where they're suffering from depression and they're like wasting away and their muscles are going away, but they are overtaxing, which means that they're training really hard for too long just in the gym, and they're not getting very good results because they're beating themselves up. And overtaxing is a much more common problem, but if you follow some of the same advice we use for overtraining, you're not going to get overtaxed either. But let's get into that a little bit. So if you look at, this is my bell curve of rep quality. This is like how well you move during your workout. So if you look at how you move when you just come into the gym, let's say you pick up a dumbbell or barbell and you're going to start squatting. Well, your first few reps are not very good because your metabolic system has to warm up. And then as your blood starts pumping, your heart rate picks up, and your muscles get warmed up, then your movement quality, or your joints, they flow together better, and your movement improves. You pick up that barbell or dumbbell and you start to do a technical warm-up where you prime a movement pattern and you get your brain ready to perform that exercise. So now your movement quality, your technical quality is getting higher as your body gets more ready for that specific movement. And then as you load a little bit of weight, resistance on that, then your nervous system comes online and makes you stronger. It activates and synchronizes all your motor neurons. So now all of a sudden you're physically warmed up, you're mentally warmed up, and the nervous system's online. So now you're strong, and here we go. You're entering your window of high quality reps. This is these are the reps where you want to do most of your training at. Where you want to squat heavy for a lot of reps. Get that 3 sets of 10 in, 5x5, whatever you're doing. And you have this training window where all the work that you're doing is going to give you the maximum effectiveness. Now you could do more, and when you do more, what you'll see is it becomes difficult to continue training. You start to slow down. The bar speed is lower, so you're kind of grinding through your reps. And the more that you do that, now you can have a couple of bad reps, but if all of your movements start to become fatigued and you become really physically tired, it becomes very difficult to hold on to the form correctly. And when you can't hold the form correctly, it gets hard to even complete the exercises. You fail, you reach temporary muscle failure, or you fall down and you do damage to your joints through your body. And that was a joke. Most people don't train to death. But the more you spend your energy through that continuum, the more damage you do to yourself. And exercise is a drug, and like any drug, you can take too much of it and get hurt. So I want to see myself and everybody I work with to train this high quality rep window. We spend a lot of time planning and organizing all the training so that people stay here and they know what it feels like when they're starting to train to form loss. And we want to stop them before they get there, because our goal is to train as little as necessary to get the improvements that we seek, not as much as possible. It's inelegant to do in an hour what you could do in 30 minutes. And we know, studies have shown that at 60 minutes, 75 minutes, performance drops. The longer you train, your body just, you can't pump out cortisol and testosterone and all these hormones for hours at a time. You have to recover. So we know that to have an effective training session, it needs to be moderated somehow. So we need to have some limits. And I like to, block it up into discrete hours. So 60 minutes, maybe 90 minutes is like the longest from warm up to cool down that I'll personally work out. I love it. I love training, but I want to get, again, the best quality. I want to get better with every rep. I don't want to start training to where I'm getting worse with every rep. That's overtaxing. So, doing, 200 curls, 300 curls. I'm building muscle, I'm creating hypertrophy. Screw that. You don't need to do that. That's just damaging. You're going to hurt yourself. I'm not saying don't do curls, but just be aware. Be aware of what you're doing. So how do you prevent overtraining, overtaxing, get the most out of your training? Well, our program does all this at once. This is all, here at Training for Warriors. This is what we do for all of our clients. But when you're training you're making your own program, you just want to have a plan. The language for training plan in the strength and conditioning world is periodization, which just means high volume here, high intensity here, recovery here, just like, undulates, and you have a plan on when you're going to work hard, and you work hard, but not every day, not all the time, and not the same movement over and over and over again. Training time management, I just said that, an hour, 90 minutes maybe, but set a time limit for the amount of time you're going to be training really, really hard. Training economy, are you making the best decisions you can make with the exercises that you're doing and the volumes you're choosing? So like, are you doing 11, 12 exercises for legs, or are you doing squats and deadlifts and lunges, right? So are you being smart about how you train? Food. Are you eating for your goals? Are you eating enough to recover from the training that you're doing and build the muscle and burn fat and feel great? Sleep. Gotta sleep to recover. I mean, so much of the gains that you get from this work that you do is why you sleep. Training logs. You'll know if you're getting into this realm of ineffectiveness and failure if you're looking at your training logs and they're not improving. So you'll see that. Now we keep track of everybody. Every group student, every personal training client has a log, and I can look at it and go, hey, this is working or it's not working. Self-awareness, self-management. So understanding what a bad rep is. I'll post an article that Dave Delaney wrote actually about how to get what movement quality you want for every single rep. It's a great article. And set movement quality goals. So knowing what looks good and feels good, and then keeping my training in there as a goal will keep me from getting injured, from getting overtaxed, keep me keep me ahead of all of these problems. So you may not be overtraining, but you can train really hard. If you're training smart, you can train really hard too. 4 hours, 6 hours, 10 hours a week, 12 hours a week. You can train a lot as long as you plan it out, as long as you're thoughtful about it. You can be an elite level athlete. You can compete. You can do all the great things you want to do. It just takes a little time and energy and the preparedness and the recovery and the focus. Do those things and you will be successful. All right. Overtraining, overtaxing, which we don't do here at Training for Warriors. We do some really great work. We make people strong, fast, build muscle, burn fat, feel good. This is Coach Josh helping you bring out the warrior within.